It is Dr. James reporting to you live. Um, Time to have discussion. Today is Tuesday, November 3rd. Um, and today is election day. So as you can see, I just voted. Um, Now it's time to talk about, voting. Um, I want to make it clear, I didn't vote for Trump or Biden. Okay? I didn't vote for Trump or Biden. Now it's time to discuss voting. Okay? Now, some people saw this as some sort of significant or important election. I didn't. I'll say that again. Some people saw this as some sort of significant or important election. I didn't. One of the main reasons why I didn't is because both of the candidates, the two popular candidates, the Republican and Democratic Party, Biden and Trump, both of them are racist, and one of them are going to win. So the candidate that I voted for isn't going to win. Okay, the candidate that I voted for isn't going to win, and I'm well aware of that. And some people might say, well, why did you vote knowing that the candidate that you voted for doesn't have a chance at winning? Well, one of the reasons why I vote is because I realize that people aren't that logical. And what a lot of people tend to do is they tend to discredit you or not want to continue a conversation with you if you didn't vote. So simply off the fact that you didn't vote, they don't want to have the discussion around voting. Okay, so I killed that argument. I voted. Now what? All right, a lot of people tend to, especially a lot of black people, I'm sorry I got to hit us with this because we tend to do this. We're big on deflection, at least the people I talk to, and my audience, who I care most about, is the black audience, okay? I'm obviously black, and I care about systemic racism that has plagued black people, since the founding of this country. Obviously, was founded based on systemic racism and slavery. So I'm trying to get rid of that. So the audience that I tend to speak to most are the demographic who is like mine, who looks like me, who comes from the same socioeconomic background and things of that nature, which most people tend to do. But that's neither here nor there. So I voted. Now you can't deflect. Now you can't say, oh, what about having your voice being heard? What about your voice being heard? Okay, my voice has been heard. I voted, it's been counted. When they do data and they look it up, they're going to see that this amount of people voted and, it wasn't for Trump or Biden. So now we have to focus on the key thing, voting and voting with a cause, right? Voting and voting with a cause, voting with a purpose, not going in there and just simply voting for the lesser of two evils, okay? Because let's be perfectly clear, a lot of people like to get caught up in the Hyde mentality. Oh, everyone is saying Trump is a racist, so let me just jump on Trump being a racist. All right? Okay, Trump is a racist. What about Biden? Biden is also a racist. It makes no sense to logically go into a voting booth and say, I'm going to vote for the lesser of two evils. What sense does that make? And now you're either operating off of ignorance or you're operating off of stupidity. You're either operating off of ignorance or you're operating off of stupidity. There is no logical reasoning in going in there and saying, I'm going to vote for the lesser of two evils. Yeah, I know Biden is racist, but he's not as racist as Trump, so I'm going to vote for him. What sense does that make? What sense does it make as me being a black man for me to go in there and say, yeah, this person has done things, said things that I really don't agree with that are really detrimental to my people, but I'm going to vote for them anyway. They're not as bad as the other person. And I did the same thing in 2016. I voted. I didn't vote for Trump or Hillary Clinton. Hillary is a racist, okay? There's just no way around it. There's just certain things I look for in a candidate that they don't fall under. Okay? Hillary Clinton said that her hero was Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, who was one of the leaders in the eugenics movement, who actually said that black people were like weeds that needed to be cropped out. And she believed in, having, an ultimate perfect pure race and all of these other things. So just little statements like that. She also supported the 1994 crime bill. I could go on and on with Hillary Clinton being racist, but people still got back behind her and they supported her. And for some reason, they saw her as a savior, someone to vote for, which makes no sense with her statements and things like that. Now, like I said, someone might argue, well, maybe she didn't know about Margaret Sanger's background and stuff like that and her racist history. That's not an escape, okay? If you're going to be president of the United States, you need to be more mindful of who you are calling your hero and saying you look up to. So either way, that's a big, deduction from her scale. Like, you lose major points when you say you look up to someone like Margaret Sanger. Like, either you know her history and that's scary, or you don't know her history and that's scary for you to say you look up to such a person. All right? There are no excuses for something like that. If someone said they look up to Adolf Hitler, you wouldn't go vote for them. Or if they say they looked up to King Leopold, you wouldn't go vote for them. Say, oh, maybe, they don't know about their history. Maybe they just admire their leadership skills. Like, you're not going to make excuses for that. So I don't want to hear anyone trying to come with excuses for Hillary Clinton and her racism. And, people try to make up excuses for Trump and his racism. Trump can't get over. Like I said, there's things I look for. I look for your mindfulness, the diction you use, your word choice. Trump said that Haiti and countries in Africa were shithole countries. Now, because, people try to get you around his racism with other parts, with other things, like him being sued for racism and, with housing and things like that back in the 70s. And, the march in Virginia where he said, there were good parties on both sides, good people on both sides, things like that. They try to jump around that. If you're not mindful of the optics of things and the diction you're using as a white man, a white president, when you say Haiti and countries in Africa, which are predominantly black, are shithole countries, I'm not voting for you. I'm not supporting you. So you can either say that's racism or extreme stupidity, of which you don't show good leadership. There's no way around that. Okay, that's just one that there's no way around. Okay, so I'm not going to play games with things of this nature. Biden's extremely racist. He has racist comments all over the place. 1977, he said he didn't want his kids to integrate into a school because it would be like a jungle. Him saying, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. That's racist. Like, the 1994 crime bill, that's practicing systemic racism. That targeted black and low socioeconomic communities, got thousands upon thousands of black men locked up away from their families, contributing into the conditions we're in right now. So not only has he had racist comments, but he also has participated in systemic racism. What about him lying, saying that he was a part of the civil rights movement and he took part in sit-ins, and only to come back and say, that wasn't true later on? Don't even get me started on all of his plagiarism throughout his presidential career. No. So we have to do better. Another thing, people saying that our ancestors, black people saying, our ancestors died for us to have the right to vote. Okay. Our ancestors died for us to have the choice. Okay. I posted a video of Malcolm X saying this. He didn't even, he asked, the reporter asked him, do you encourage people to go vote? He said, no, I won't encourage that. I encourage you to do what's necessary.
You suggest that Negroes vote for in the coming election?
I wouldn't suggest that they vote for any party or either party. I would suggest that the so-called Negroes become politically mature, realize the power that they hold in the field of politics, and then once the person who is running is aware that this man is awakened to the power that he holds, then that person who is running will approach that Negro on a more intelligent plane. As it is right now, most of the Negro leaders sell out to the white politicians for crumbs. And an awakening, a political awakening among Negroes will make it impossible for the present Negro leaders to sell our people out as they've been doing in the past.
Well, you do think Negroes should vote?
Negroes should do whatever is necessary to bring about a complete solution to their problem. When I say whatever is necessary, they should have the flexibility to do whatever is necessary to solve the problem.
All right. The Voting Rights Act of 1964 fully came through and was passed in 1965. Black people have been voting for 56 years. I challenge you to tell me which presidential election has contributed to growth for black people. Which presidential election has brought about change for black people? Which presidential election has ended systemic racism, has stopped black people from being murdered and shot down, has ended the gaps in socioeconomic status throughout black communities, in education, in the criminal justice system, all of these different gaps with sentencing, all of the systemic racism that takes place. Which presidential election has done anything towards that? Black people still haven't got reparations. Nothing has changed. All right. What happened to Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, that would happen no matter who is in office. Okay. So there are a lot of things to touch on with this, but we have to do better and stop making silly arguments or going in there and simply, and I've been saying this for forever. One key thing is we're not even politically aware. Most people just think that there are two candidates. If you ask, like most people that I ask, first of all, everyone that I ask how many political candidates are running for president, they get it wrong. How many candidates are running for president? They all get it wrong. Even the ones who know about the four notable. I didn't say how many notable candidates are running for president, which would be Joe Jorgensen, Huey Hawkins, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump. That's four notables, okay? I didn't ask you how many notable. I asked you how many candidates. If you go on the Federal Election Commission website, it tells you how many candidates are running for president. And it's like 1,204 or something like that. So like 1,200 candidates are running for president. Like, they've signed up with the Federal Election Commission that they're running for president. And if you fill them in, if you do a write-in, their name is like already counted. You don't have to be, looked up and things like that. They'll know who you're talking about. So something like that. Some people manage to grid a ballot without signing up with the Federal Election Commission. Like Kanye West, he's not signed up with the Federal Election Commission, but he's on ballots. All right. But like I said, with the four notable candidates, most people don't even know who those are. They just think Biden and Trump, or they just go in with the mindset, I'm only going to vote for Biden or Trump because one of them are going to win. Now, is that really letting your voice be heard? Because if you just like the optics of things, most people are going to just vote for Biden because he has Kamala Harris, a black woman, underneath him for vice president. But Huey Hawkins is also a notable candidate, and he has a black woman underneath him, Angela Walker, who has better stats and doesn't have a history of ruining the black community like Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was Attorney General in California, and she was destroying the black community. If you look up her history and how she wanted to lock black parents up, even for truancy, for the kids coming to school late, all types of stuff, marijuana laws, she was going ham on people, black people. And then, like, everything that she's doing, trying to cater to the black community. She said she was a hip hop fan. They asked her, who's your favorite rapper alive? And she said Tupac.
Uh-huh.
And then best rapper alive.
Tupac.
He's not alive. You said he lives on.
But not a lot. I know. I keep doing that.
You said, listen, West Coast girls think Tupac lives on. I'm with you. So Tupac, keep going.
I keep doing that. Who would I say? I mean, there's so many. I mean, you know, there are some that I would not mention right now because they should stay in their lane. But others, I
don't know what that means. I want to know who one of those are.
Keep going. Keep moving.
Okay,
Keep moving.
Who is your favorite living rapper? She says Tupac. Like, come on. They got a video of her marching with some black kids and she's dancing. About how she went to a HBCU. I don't care. She went to a HBCU. So, like, we have to be more knowledgeable. If you ask people, why did you go vote? I know a lot of people, a lot of older people are just down there voting. You speak to the people, they're just in there with the mindset, like, yeah, I'm a Democrat. That's who I vote for. I'm a Democrat. You're a Democrat? That's who you vote for? Or I'm a Republican. Yeah, that's who I vote for. You're a Republican? That's who you vote for? What about their policies? What is this person's view on education? What is their view on gun control? What is their view on health care? What is their view on abortion? How about all of those things? Do you know? You're just going in there with a mindset of, I'm going to vote with this party because that's who I am. That just points to ignorance. And then people don't want to have the discussion. When you say, oh, they're like, yeah, I ain't voting for Trump. Trump is racist. Biden's racist. Well, Trump's more racist. Well, let's discuss things. Let's lay out the facts. Because you just said one was racist and that's why you're voting for the other, but that person is racist too. Can we have a discussion? They're both trash. They're both trash. I never understand when people simply say, go vote. Okay, I went and I voted. What if you tell someone to go vote who is in direct conflict with who you're voting for? Let's say person A is voting for Trump and person B is voting for Biden. Person A says go vote to person B. What sense does that make? What sense does it make? So when people say go vote, are you saying to go vote for a specific person? You need to be clear, and I said this weeks ago. You need to be transparent about who people should vote for and why. This is not a time to just say go vote, I don't care who you vote for. You don't care who people vote for? Who you're voting for says a lot about you, or it should. You support something that they're voting that they stand on. You support their vote on their view on abortion, or their view on gun control laws, or their view on education, or their view on healthcare, or their view on immigration, or their view on trading. You have to support something in order for you to vote for them. Or you should. That's the way you should be thinking logically. Oh yeah, I like this person's stance on abortion. I'm pro-choice, they're pro-choice. They're pro-life, I'm pro-life. Etc., etc. That's how it works. And again, this is if you think it's actually going to create change. People make up excuses all the time. All right? Now, I voted for Obama. And people like to say, oh, Obama couldn't do anything. He didn't have the House and Senate. That's a lie. The first 2 years Obama was in office, he had the House. It was Democrat. And he still didn't get anything passed. And that's another thing. We don't know enough about it. So, number one, we're voting. The Electoral College has the final say. Okay? It's not a majority rules thing. Hillary had more votes than Trump, and Hillary lost. All right? So it goes by state population. Okay? So you can have the majority of the votes and lose. Just like Hillary. You can have the majority votes and lose. Like I said, it goes by the Electoral College. And it goes by state population. So like some of the states with like the biggest population is California, then I think it's Texas, then Florida, then New York. So those states have like some of the biggest Electoral College votes. It goes for like I think California gets like 55, then it's like 38 in Texas, then like 29 or something like that from like Florida and New York Electoral College votes. But then you go down to smaller states with smaller population and they get like 3 Electoral College votes. So if you win that state, you get 3 Electoral College votes. And let's say you could win like you could win the whole state. Let's just say everyone in the whole state voted for you. Small state, Vermont, Rhode Island, something like that. You win all of the votes in that state. You get 3 Electoral College votes. You could win in California by 1 vote, and you get all of those Electoral College votes. So it's not, winner, it's not a majority thing. It's not a democracy. That's what people need to understand. A lot of people don't know that anyway. So you're letting your voice be heard. The majority of the country can want the person that you voted for to win, and the person still lose. Okay? That's just a simple fact. And the same goes with the House and the Senate. Well, each state gets 2 people each state gets 2 senators in the Senate. But for the House, it's 435 members, and it goes by the state population. Again, you can have a state like California get 50 representatives, and then you get a small state that gets 1. So I know I've been saying a lot, but all of this basically comes down to us. We need to vote with a purpose. We need to vote with a purpose. We need to be knowledgeable. I said all of this. I've been saying all of this throughout on my social media, Instagram, Facebook. We need to vote with a purpose, all right? And we need to think logically. We can't simply continue to do the same thing, and expect a difference. If you're thinking the outcome of presidency is based off of, if you're thinking, you know, Biden being in office is going to be any different for black people, you're sadly mistaken. If you're thinking, you know, Trump being in office again is going to be any different for black people, you're sadly mistaken. All right. I've looked at the plans that they've implemented, and a lot of them are inclusive plans. A lot of them are intersectional, where it's not only exclusive for black people. So we're not going to get the equity that we need from either one of those candidates. Like I said, it's about equity, not necessarily equality, because black people are coming out of a hole. We've been oppressed since the founding of this country. We are owed reparations, and it's not like a pity party. We are owed reparations, okay? They always do these, you know, intersectional laws and things that benefit, you know, minority groups rather than just benefiting black people, which is something that we need, all right? There is no minority group killed by police like black people are. So I want us to think critically about what we're saying and what we're doing. When you say go vote, vote for whom? What is the plan? What is the outcome you want? Let's just think about it. If everyone voted the way you voted, who would be president? All right, you voted. Now, if everyone voted the way you voted, who would be president? And how does that benefit black people? What is that person's track record? Does it look good for black people with that person being in office? With that person's track record? Don't tell me how, you know, people can change. You know, no, we're dealing with something serious here, and we're dealing with politics. We're dealing with their track record, with them implementing laws and what they have done and what they haven't done. So, you know, a lot of people play games and they speak in an ignorant manner, and then they make it seem like you have to vote. You know, someone was telling us, you know, people have told me, like, yo, I'm not going to vote. And I perfectly understand it. I'm not saying, like, man, you should go vote, man. You know, our ancestors died for you to have the right to vote. Because our ancestors died for equality. They died for the right to be treated like a human being. They died for basic rights that were not just exclusive to voting. They were out there marching for a number of things. And they moved the needle. They moved the needle. We got that right. So I have the right to vote. My ancestors didn't die for it to be mandatory for me to go vote. That's not why they died. I have proof. Malcolm X said it. Malcolm X, one of the leaders of the civil rights movement. You need a plan when you go vote. You don't just go vote and give your vote to anyone. Black people, we make up 13% of the population. If we're going to give our vote to someone, it should be unified. It should be planned. It should be structured. All right, we're giving our vote to this person. They have this plan for us. We're going to get these benefits from it. We haven't done that yet. That's why we're not going to see any change. We continue to just go with whatever sounds great, whoever is catering to us, whoever's talking about hot sauce and watermelons. We say, all right, that person's blackity black. We're going to vote for them. Someone talks about hip hop, we're going to vote for them. They dance to some music, or, you know, they Millie Rock or something. We're like, oh, yeah, we can invite them to the cookout. We're going to vote for them. We have to stop doing that. Y'all continue to fall for the same tricks, and then you keep saying, oh, yeah, man, if we don't vote, we ain't going to see no change. Well, we've been voting for 56 years. Where's the change? It's not just about voting. It's about being strategic with your vote. Voting with a cause. And yeah, we have to get down on the ground and do work ourselves within our black communities. But we're specifically talking about black people voting and who they give their vote to. It's never going to matter if you simply just go vote for the lesser of two evils. That makes no sense. You simply go vote for the lesser of two evils. You give them your vote with empty promises, without seeing anything. And you think you're going to create some change. Makes no sense. All right? So like I said, you know, I vote. I kill that argument. Well, do you vote? Yeah, I vote. Now what? And a lot of the times I like to leave it open. I'll say something like, yeah, I voted. I didn't vote for Biden. Just to see if how the person acts, if they assume, oh, you voted for Trump. I didn't say I voted for Trump. I said I didn't vote for Biden. That's where you test people's ignorance and their wisdom. Do they know about the other two notable candidates? Do they know that you can do write-ins? You test those things. And then we can have a discussion. Who'd you vote for? I'll tell you who I voted for. Who'd you vote for? Why'd you vote for them? I'll tell you why I voted for the person I voted for. Let's have a discussion. All right, so y'all can let me know what y'all think of the video. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video. We got to do better. We got to do better. And, you know, y'all can let me know your thoughts. Dr. James, I'm out. Peace and love.